Hello folks, I am the Manga Comic Explainer. Today I will explain to you a creepy horror manga comic called Strange Detective. And guys, trust me, this story is too creepy and will give you goosebumps. This story contains 30 chapters in total. I already explained chapter 1 and 2 in my last video. Please go and watch them first, otherwise you will not be able to link the story. Now without wasting any more time, let's get started. Chapter 3, Curse of the Darkness Part 3. At night, Kai was preparing to go to sleep when suddenly Kwang the tech guy texted some info about the factory. He mentioned him as the Da Shang factory. Kai then discovered that the factory was opened in late 1980s by the founder named Fu Da Shang, who was actually an expatriate and lived abroad. The factory was running good, but 3 years later, first murder case occurred. A female worker named Lin. Lin actually returned from a business trip, after which her mental condition worsened suddenly, for which she was even granted leave. But unfortunately, one day, she was found dead on factory floor. The cause of her death was asphyxiation, which means intense pressure on windpipe resulting in choking. No evidence was found on the scene and hence the case was dropped by the police. Since then, the strange rumors have surfaced regarding the factory. It was also rumored that the factory owner's wife, Li, had seen a dark shadowy figure which exactly resembled Lin. After 2 months, she died of asphyxiation with strange hand marks on her neck. Rumors began to spread that the worker Lin's spirit lingered the factory, and since then the number of deaths also increased. The factory owner even invited a Taoist to exorcise the factory, but it didn't stop the death. In the end, even the Taoist also died mysteriously. The factory owner then decided to sell the factory, but no one dared to buy this haunted place. The factory owner then hired a security guard named Gui, who is still waiting for a new buyer. Gui is the same old bald and ill-tempered person who drove Kai out of the factory with a wooden stick the very first time. Kwang also sent Kai the address of the factory owner. It seemed that the case remained unsolved for 30 years. Kai went to bed and fall asleep. Suddenly he felt like it's a sleep paralysis and a dark shadowy figure on top of him. Suddenly he woke of this nightmare and realized that it was his own shadow, as if he was strangling himself. Kai started wondering, how did I get involved in this curse? I have to find the truth. Kai thought, could it be possible that Kin has been killed by his own shadow? Kai then finally decided to visit the old and abandoned factory again to investigate. The next day, Kai visited that factory and tricked the old security guard Gui to distract him. Kai tied a $100 bill to the leash of a dog and made Gui follow the dog for $100. It seems Gui is underpaid, or maybe he doesn't receive any payment. Kai then entered the place and began searching for the window Kin mentioned about. He found nothing, only dust there and no sign of any being that may have visited this place before him. Kai then began searching the window on the 3rd floor, where Kin mentioned about seeing a creepy old lady. But Kai noticed that the building has only 2 floors, so where did the 3rd floor come from? Then Kai saw an exhaust window, but it was 5 meters above the floor. Kai wondered, if this is the window Kin was talking about, then the women should be at least 5 meters tall. Is it even possible for a woman to be 5 meters tall? The women might be a case of gigantism, a growth hormone-related disorder. Just kidding. Let's get back to the story. Unnoticed by Kai, a black shadowy appeared behind Kai and grabbed him. End of chapter 3. Now let's start chapter 4, Curse of Darkness Part 4. Kai shouted, who is there? And then he realized that it was just a bad feeling. Kai got out of the factory and decided to pay the factory owner a visit. Kai reached Mr. Fu's house and rang the doorbell. A lady passerby informed Kai that Mr. Fu lived here in solitary for 20 years, and when died, some distant relative came to make the funeral arrangement. When the lady left, Kai sneaked into the house by lock-picking the door. Kai started his investigation and search for any clues. Kai found a notebook that belongs to Mr. Fu, which dated the 13th of August 1989. The notebook revealed Lin, the first lady factory worker to die, was bewitched during her business trip. After that, every single person saw the spirit of Lin. Lin was cursed. The notebook also mentioned the names of all the victims of the curse. Mr. Fu's wife, a security guard, the Taoist priest, and many other people had died due to this curse. Mr. Fu also mentioned in his notebook that, after my wife passed away, I have seen her spirit at least 5 times. Her body is black and her skin appeared dreadfully pale. Her face didn't change in these 30 years, but every time I tried to get close to her, she immediately vanished. Did she really turned into a ghost? Then Kai remembered. Kin also looked same after his death. The notebook also revealed that the dark shadow only appears at night and not on daylight. Each and every victim of the curse has felt the same nightmare, where they dream of strangling themselves. Kai decided to take the notebook to his apartment to investigate more about it. Suddenly, the dark shadow of Kin appeared behind him. He attacked Kai and tried to strangle him. Kai tried to fight back and attacked with a flower vase, but it was of no effect on Kin. He was so strong and continued to strangle Kai. Then suddenly a kick with high heels flew in air and hit the shadow. She was one of the beautiful police officer Kai saw at the police station when he walked out of the interrogation room. Her name was Zen. She worked for 749th Bureau, a division that specialized in dealing paranormal cases. Zen warned Kai to stay out of darker areas, as the shadows can easily mold into darkness. Suddenly, the creepy shadow of Kin appeared behind Zen and Kai. Chapter 4 ends here. Guys, this story gets interesting every time I read it. Please consider subscribing for more. New episodes coming all the way. Stay tuned, guys.